Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Chang Hwa. The host today is not here, so I briefly introduce myself. I'm currently the director of Chen Meditation Center. I started a series talked on the Śurangama Sutra this year. This is the third talk. We get to the topic of what is the true mind. And I cannot finish today, so this is the part one, and I will continue next time for the part two. Before we start, let's recite the verse for beginning the sutra together. Please join palms. The unsurpassed, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter even in a billion aeons. Today we see, hear, receive, and uphold it, vowing to fathom the true meaning of the Tathagata. Okay. This is again the 10 chapters of the Śurangama Sutra, and then today we will cover chapter 2, the nature of visual awareness. And Buddha used the 10 aspects of the true mind, tried to explain what the mind really is, because in the chapter 1, Ananda tried to find where the mind is, and failed for second attempt, 7 attempts. So here Buddha continue try to explain, what the true mind is. And let's go back to the big picture first. This whole Śurangama Sutra you can divide it into 4 parts that Buddha trying to answer Ananda's questions from the wondrous samatha, the wondrous samapatti, and the wondrous dhyana as perspective. Try to help us understand what the true mind is, and then finally explain the demonic states for all the practitioners to be aware of. Okay, so this chapter 2, the chapter 1, that Ananda 7 times tried to locate where the mind is, and then from the existence and non-existence perspective, and from the physical and the metaphysical perspective, Buddha vetoed his findings, Ananda's findings, saying that those are not the mind. And then so Buddha pointed out the 2 fundamentals that why we cannot see our true minds. The first fundamental is called deluded grasping mind. That's the basis of death and rebirth without beginning. And the second fundamental is the pure true mind, is the original pure essence of Bodhi, enlightenment, and nirvana. So in this chapter, Buddha trying to clarify these 2 with Ananda. Okay, so when Buddha asked and answered Ananda's question about the location of the mind, and then in the end, Ananda just get lost, like, I have no mind. And then Buddha, raised his fist and then asked Ananda, what did you see? And what did you see it with? Okay. And Ananda just say, all of us in the great assembly, like all of us here, we saw this fist with our eyes, right? Your eyes see it. And then Buddha asked, your eyes can see my fist, but what do you think? You know, like you see it, but then what is your mind? And Ananda replied, I have been using the mind to search the location of the mind. So I would think that which has the capability of doing such searching is my mind. So, you know, you ask the question, I'm thinking, and I'm looking for the answer, and that mind is my mind. Okay, straight enough. And then Buddha just shouted to Ananda, that is not your mind. You know, right now you're thinking, you're searching the answer, that's not your mind. And Ananda just like startled. This is not my mind? If that is not my mind, what is it? Okay. And then the Buddha explained, the mind that you are searching for the answer is merely your mental process that assigns false and illusory attribute to the objects you perceived previously. Once you perceive any object, it's past already. Okay, and then you assign an attribute, a name or a symbol for the object you perceive. And that's your mental process. So, conclusion, mental process is not your true mind. Okay, the first things that Buddha tried to clarify. And then, you know, we just like Ananda question, okay, why this perceptive awareness is not the true mind? Okay. Ananda continued, it was my mind that loved the Buddha, served all Buddhas and teachers, not showed great courage to practice every difficult aspect of the Buddha Dharma. You know, like I practice diligently. I try to convince myself that, you know, I have the ability to get enlightenment and I overcome all the difficulties. I'm using this my mind to do it. Even if I were ever to slander the Dharma and forsake forever my good roots in it, that is also because of this mind. I do good things, I do bad things. Whatever I do, you know, I use this mind. And then now Buddha, you say that this is not my true mind. So scary. If this is not my mind, then I have no mind. Just like a piece of wood, you know, deadlock, because nothing exists apart from my mind's perceptive awareness. Okay, that's our daily experience. If I cannot perceive things and my mind have no function, then I have no mind. How could it be? You know, this is like nihilism, you know. Then what happened? Now Buddha continued to explain, don't be scary. Okay. Even though the mind you are operating right now is not your true mind, but all things that are subjected to the principle of cause and effect, from the largest world to the smallest mote of dust, come into being because of the mind. Okay. If we examine the fundamental natures of each things in the world, Ananda, down to even the smallest wisp of grass, we will see that all have substance. Even space has a name and attributes. So given that, how could the clear, wondrous, pure mind, the mind that truly understands and is the basic nature of all mental states itself, like substance? Of course, our wondrous, clear, pure mind has substance. It's not like everything gone, everything disappear. It's just like, our true mind has its own substance, the essence. It's not like, and Buddha said that even though I tell you that your operating mind is not your true mind, doesn't mean that you don't have mind. Okay, you still have a true mind that has the essence, has the substance. But just the point is that you deluded yourself with the grasping mind, and then you lost track of your true mind. That's the point. Okay, so how do you clarify the grasping mind, deluded mind, from the true mind? Okay, so in the sutra, there is a paragraph detailedly explain this. So I make it in short. Okay, so whatever the distinction that made from the bottom column, okay, from these two categories. First is from the object you perceive. Okay, so the 5 organs, you perceive the visible objects, seeing, right? You hear the sounds, you smell the odors, and you taste the flavors, and you touch the objects. All this so-called dust, or in Chinese we translate as dust. Actually, the name is actually objects. Okay, the object that you perceive from your 5 organs, that is called the objects perceived. Okay, and the other is called the state of, even though a state of quietude perceived by the 6th consciousness is also a perceived Dharma object. So we oftentimes explain 6 organs, right? The 6th is the consciousness, and the 6th consciousness, we don't call it the objects, we call it Dharma objects, because it's articulated in your mind. Okay, so usually from the Yogacara school, we explain that, I have 5 organs perceive the object outside, the sound, the smell, the taste, the touch, etc. We perceive that, and then our 6th consciousness will process. I like it, I don't like it. I know this is apple, this is a pineapple, this is spicy and non-spicy. All this discrimination or distinctions are made by the 6th consciousness. So the objects perceived by the 6th consciousness, we call it the Dharma object. Okay, so in Chinese, it's called Fa Chen. Okay, so all these distinctions made by the 6 organs are from, they have no essential natures. That means when the object disappears, then you don't have the ability to make distinction, right? You come, I see you, you go, I don't see you. And then, likewise, I'm thinking about Shifu, Shifu is in my mind, but I don't think about Shifu 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's just like sometimes, right? So the thought of Shifu come and go. There is no essential nature there that I can say that this is the true, the real entity. And if this process of distinctions are made by the object perceived or the Dharma objects, then this is your deluded mind. All this distinguish come from the six objects. The mind is deluded. And what is the true mind? The true mind make distinctions directly from the essential nature of your mind, not through, the 6 organs, not through the 6 objects. This is your true mind. That's how you tell the deluded mind and the true mind. Deluded mind has no essential nature, and then just can make distinctions based on the 6 objects that the 6 organs perceived. And the true mind make distinctions not through the 6 organs and 6 objects. It's from the essential nature. So that means, and people scared, no self. If my mind stopped, then what happened? And I'm dead people, and people, do meditation, sometimes enter into the state of seems like no wandering thought, no discriminated kind of quietude. I'm sorry, this is not your true mind. Okay. So here Buddha point out that even though you stopped the discrimination from your 6 organs and 6 objects, you still have the ability to make distinctions. That's from your essential nature. Okay. So Buddha continue. Dust, the perceived objects, including the Dharma objects, are not permanent. And when they cease to exist, then this perceiving mind would be likened to a turtle with a fur or a hare with horns. Okay. It's illusion. Correspondingly, your Dharma body would cease to exist along with it. If that's the case, then who would be left to practice and to perfect the knowledge of non-arising? Okay, so if you think that the perceiving mind is your true mind, and then, when the perceiving process ceases, then your Dharma body will cease with it. Then who is practicing right now, right? So again, Buddha says that the perceptive awareness is not your mind. You're not your true mind. Okay, now, Buddha continue. This is a very famous topics called 10 aspects of the true mind. Buddha used 10 aspects to tell Ananda what is not, what your true mind is not. Instead of telling us that what the true mind is, Buddhist philosophy usually tell you what is not. Because what it is cannot be described, explained, interpreted with words and symbols. We hear a lot about this from the Chan school, You just cannot explain with words, verbal explain or use symbol to represent the true mind. But we can tell what is not, okay? I hope I can go to half of it. First point, the nature of seeing awareness is your mind, not your eyes, okay? So now, another still confused, Then I'm seeing, you, and then you say that the mind I'm seeing you is not my mind, right? It's kind of, Buddha trying to say, the reason you can see is not because of you have eyes, it's because you have the accents of the seeing, visual awareness. So a person with no hand, okay, now on your left, it's a dark room, totally dark room. And Buddha asked Ananda, the darkness, first he asked Ananda, can the blind people see? And for blind people, they see only darkness, right? And so then Buddha continued to ask, okay, the darkness the blind people see, and the darkness that ordinary people see in a totally dark room, total dark room, are these darkness the same? So I put you in the dark room. You see nothing, and a blind people see black darkness. These two darkness are the same, right? And now the problem is a person. If I have no hands, Buddha still used that fist he raised to ask Ananda. If I have no hand, I never make a fist. But those whose eyes do not function will not be entirely unable to see. Why? It's for us, it's very clear. Now, if I turn on the light in the dark room, you can see my fist, right? Makes sense? Our experience. Then the light is the reason, the cause that help us to see the fist. The lamp reveal visible objects. It is the eyes that see, not the lamp. Similarly, the eyes themselves reveal visible objects. And it is the mind that sees, not the eyes. So Buddha said that if for blind people, they do not lose the ability to see. For example, if we blind people, you do the cornea transplantation, they can see, right? They don't lose the ability to see. That's the analogy here that Buddha gave to Ananda, that eye is the reason that help us to reveal the object. So this is the first very important point is that your mind is seeing, not your eyes. Okay, that's the very core teaching of this Śurangama Sutra. And then Buddha continue, okay, to point out the second aspect. The nature of seeing awareness does not move. Okay. Now it's very interesting that Buddha asked the okay. So Buddha, the first teaching is Buddha's after get enlightenment. The first teaching is to his old friends, the 5 monks, and there is a senior experienced one that get enlightenment. That is the this Kandiya, okay. And Kandiya, Buddha asked him, when I give you the teaching and talking about the visiting objects, how you got enlightened, okay. And then the Kandiya explained, okay, because I realized that the so-called visiting dust, the visitings means, like a visitor come to my house. Visitor always come and go, and I'm the host, I stay always, right? So the objects come and go. My mind is always here, always stay. to make the perception. And no matter there is a gas or not, my seeing ability is still there. And why we call it dust? Okay, here is another analogy that actually in a dark room, or actually in the room, we see it's clear. Like right now, we see the room is clear, right? Not like, you know, a couple of days ago, it's crazy things happened. You know, the burning forest in Canada bring us a lot of dust that cover New York City. And then so usually in the regular room, we see it's clear, you know, it's clean. But when you have a light beam shine through it, you can see the very subtle dust. Just like this, a beam of sunlight shine through. You suddenly see a lot of dust, you know, flying there. Okay, so why we call it dust? Because it's there, but it's moving. It kept moving, you know, and turning around all the time. And so the dust moves, but the air is still, you know, the air that hold the dust is not moving, but the dust in the airs keep moving. So when Buddha talked about visiting dust, you know, visiting object, I realized that all the things that it perceives are not real. Okay, so this is a very important term that we need to keep in mind, because the following chapters that Buddha will always come back to this term from these 10 aspects. Okay, so all the things we perceive is called visiting objects. Okay, just like a dust, visiting dust, it comes and goes and it keep moving. So when we do meditations, when our mind go deeper and subtler, we can see even a thought, our thoughts keep moving. You know, all the mind, it's not fixed, it's keep moving. Okay, so now continue. Buddha say, okay, you know, look at this. What moves and what was still. So Buddha keep doing this. Open the fist, close the fist, open the fist, close the fist. Ask Ananda, what moves and what was still? Now Ananda gets smart. He said, oh, Buddha's hand move, but my seeing awareness is even beyond stillness. How could it have moved? Because Buddha say, you know, mind is not moved, right? So the object move, my mind is not moving. Very smart, but still wrong. Second, okay, Buddha then continue. Okay, so every time for practitioners, sometimes they think that, oh, I you know, get enlightenment. For experienced teacher, they will test you, tell you that, so sorry, you are not. Okay, this Ananda knowledgeably accepted what Buddha say. And then Buddha immediately test him. You know, give a light to his right and give a light to his left. And then Ananda just like, oh, right? Things. And then he turned his head. And then Buddha asked Ananda, when you glance at the light and move your head to the right and left, was it your head that moved or your visual awareness that moved? Okay. What is moving? Another said, okay, great. It wasn't my head that moved. And the nature of my visual awareness is beyond even stillness. How could it have moved? You know, try to copy what Buddha say. No, it's my head's moving, my mind is not moving. Okay, it's getting smart and smart. Now Buddha say, sorry. How can you take what moves to be your body and to be the environment? So the fist, Buddha's fist that move, is the object outside his body that he perceived, right? It's in the environment, outside environment. You take that as the object outside. And then you told me that your head move. You know, the head is your body, right? Part of our body, right? And our body moves. What's wrong with it? It's right. Then now Buddha said that you take this physical body, you take this head, move. What move is your body, and what move is your object, outside object. How can you do that? That's why from the beginning to the end, in every thought that comes and goes, you have lost track of your true nature and kept taking actions out of delusion. Means, Buddha continue. Therefore, due to the loss of the true nature of your mind and the fact that you identify yourself with the objects you perceive, you trapped yourself in a cycle of birth and death and rebirth. Wrong. How can you kind of know what is not move. No, the visual awareness is not move, but you still think that my hand is moving, and your head responds to the light, and your head is moving. That's your body. Okay, here is a point. Actually, this thinking of moving is not your mind. When you think that the object move, your physical body or your organs move, the organ is the perceiver. The thoughts or the object is what you perceive by the organs. When you perceive the object and you think it's moving, that is because this is the consciousness that tells you that the object is moving. And this is also the consciousness that tell you that your organ, your body is moving. And unfortunately, this consciousness is not your mind. There is the true mind. There is a true mind that behind all the three, things that is beyond moving and still non-moving. Okay, so Buddha again point out that, what is so-called what is moving and what is not moving. Here we can see some hint that we kind of can accept, the nature of the visual awareness is not moving, it's there. But when we perceive the outside objects and our physical body is moving, it's also wrong. Because, okay, there are more things. So because the true mind, all the things are manifest by the true mind. Okay, so let's cut back here. So there is a famous story from master, our sixth patriarch in China, Chinese tradition, the master Huineng, okay, the one who wrote the Platform Sutra. So there are two monks arguing, right? Is it the flax that is moving or is the wind that is moving, right? If you can recall, is the flag that is moving or is the wind that is moving? So Huineng, over here about this conversation, these arguments, Huineng just says that, sorry, my dear monks, it's not the wind that is moving, it's not the flax that is moving, it's your mind that is moving, right? That's basically here. Your mind is moving. And that's why you think the object is moving and your body is moving. And this moving mind here, Buddha said, is not your true mind, okay? It's your discriminated, deluded mind. Now, all right, you take it. The third aspect that Buddha trying to continue is to show Ananda the nature of seeing awareness does not perish. Okay. Now Buddha talk about the object and the organs and the illusory mind. Now there is the audience called the King Pasanadi. King Pasanadi, he is a big sponsor of the Buddha. He's among the audience because he just offered the food for the Buddha, and then the story come back because Ananda missed the offering, and that's why he encountered the woman that tried to break it, that almost let Ananda lost his precept, fundamental precept. So the King Pasanadi then just feel like, oh, if this body and object and this conscious mind is not my true mind, and on my mind is illusory because I'm perceiving the object with my organs, then how about that? Because in India, in ancient India, there are so many religions and the philosophies that are very similar to the Buddhism, okay? And then so the king asked, I heard that after this body dies, we cease to exist. And this is so-called the nirvana. Is it correct? So a lot of practitioners, two vehicles practitioners, they think that all the suffering, all the vexation, all the ignorance come from this body and mind, this body and then the conscious mind. And if we cease to exist, it cease the existence of the body and conscious mind, everything's solved, vexation gone, ignorance gone, then we can enter into a pure state of nirvana. So, is that correct? Is it correct? Then I cease to exist. I die and I cease to exist. How can I realize the true mind that neither comes nor perish? Everything's false, right? Illusory. And how can I realize the true mind? Then this is also very famous dialogue here. Buddha asked, say, Your Majesty, you have not perished yet. You have not died yet. How do you know you will perish? Buddha didn't say die. Okay, you have not perished yet. How do you know you will perish? This is so simple. The king just answered, I was a kid. I'm very energetic. And when I was young, adults, I look handsome, good skinned. And now I'm old. The skin wrinkle everywhere. I'm getting old. But so eventually, I will die. Die. This body will die, of course. So makes sense, right? Everybody experiences. So perish. And I can see that, and the king is also a practitioner. He continues. So I can see that each one of my thoughts just fades away, followed by a new thought, which also does not last. Thought and thought and thought, come and go, like fire turning into ash, constantly dying away, forever perishing. Thought disappear, perish. By this, I'm convinced that my body too must perish. My body. this body perish means the six organ perish, and then the environment perish. Everything's perish. Nirvana. Buddha, this is the Ganges River in India. We went to the pilgrimage trip in 2019, Christmas time, just before the pandemic, the COVID things. So we have a bunch of people went there. This is Ganges River. So Buddha asked the king, what age you first saw this Ganges River? He said that probably 4 years old. My mom took me to the Ganges rivers and I see that river. And then Buddha asked, and now you go see the Ganges River, the seeing at the age of 4 and the seeing now, what's the differences between that? And the king said, there's no differences. You know, when I see the Ganges River at age of 4, and right now I see the Ganges River, the seeing is the same. Okay, that's great. The Buddha says, so your face is wrinkled, but the essential nature of your visual awareness is never wrinkled. What wrinkles is subject to change. You know, our face keep changing, right? And what does not wrinkle never changes. What changes will perish, and what does not change neither comes into being nor perish. Then how could it be affected by your being born or dying? So basically, Buddha point out that, you know, the essential nature of your visual awareness will never perish, even though you're born or die. Okay, because birth and death are also wrinkles, right? And you will not perish. A lot of people afraid of death is because, first is because we think we will disappear. We will no longer exist. And then for some people, it's like we're scared of death is because we don't know where to go, where we will be after we die. Okay, but here Buddha said that no matter what, your essential nature of your true mind never perish. Life after life after life never perished. But that's different from the concept of soul, you know, because then Buddha will continue, because soul is an unchanging identity. But for the illusory existence, we never even though we mentioned that our true nature is never changed, but it's not the soul. Okay, it's like, you know, we change body, and there is a soul here. But this kind of manifestations of the body, reborn, this is illusory. And we really know that what is behind that is not changing. We will get more clear in the following aspects that Buddha explained. Okay, so then the fourth point that Buddha mentioned is the nature of seeing awareness is never lost. Okay, so Ananda, just continue. Okay, all right, good. Our the essential nature of our true mind never perished. It's always there. Then Buddha, why you say that we have lost track of our true natures and taken upside down actions? You keep telling us that we lost, you know, lost track of our true nature. And Buddha reply, this is also very important. Buddha say that I often say that all conditional dharmas, including the conditions that make up the form and the mind, as well as all the mental activities are manifested by the true mind. Okay, so that's why in the previous aspect, Buddha said that you cannot take what moves as your outside object or your body, because they are all manifestation of your true mind that never move. Okay, we just take it. Now, there are a lot of Buddha tried to help us understand, so he did a lot of things in this chapter. Buddha just raised his hand and then asked Ananda, what is, is this upside down or right side up? Okay. And then Ananda just said, I don't know. It's upside down or right side up. But for ordinary people, we all know that this is right side up, right? Because palm is up. So this is right side up. And Buddha said, and how about that? Lower down the arms, and then this is going to be right, upside down, right? This is upright, and then this is going to be the upside down. And then Buddha said, yeah, right. Because why you say that this is upright? Because you identify the palms as the head, the head of your arms, right? So this head up is upright. And so when I turn my arms downward, these palms go down. So this is upside down, right? And then if we have this kind of discrimination, we illusory identify a head of palms, then we will have the upright and upside down discrimination. So for example, we think that upright is Buddha because he got enlightenment, he see his true nature, etc. And we are ordinary people upside down because we don't understand the impermanence, and we don't understand the no self, emptiness, that kind of things. So we upside down, ordinary people upside down, and Buddha upright, right? And Buddha said that your bodies and minds are the manifestation of the wondrous mind with the true essence that is remarkably luminous. If the physical body and the conscious mind and all the mental activity are all our true mind, manifestation of the true mind, how you identify the so-called palms? How can you tell what is upright and what is upside down? And that's a fundamental problems for us. That's why Buddha said that our mind are deluded, because we deluded identify what is right and what is down or wrong. And Buddha said that, sorry about that, this is not the case. So here, I would like to share you, there are 3 levels of upside down views. For example, ordinary people, how we identify what is right and wrong or upside down. For example, if we disobey the mundane ethical rules, laws, and common concepts, we are upside down. You kill people, you violate the rule. For example, you marry with your daughter or something, you marry children, that's not ethical, right? It's wrong. And then, you kill people, you take away things from other people without permission, and then it's freezing cold, you don't wear clothes. It's so hot, and then you wear a lot of, down jacket. It's kind of upside down, not normal, right? And second level for the Buddhist, if we call it upside down, is because if we disobey the principles of cause and consequence or impermanence, then we are upside down. So for all the Buddhists, we need to know that the causes and consequences in the three lives. So for example, you feel that you are extremely bad luck in this life, and you are good people. You do good things, you help people, and then, why I just got bad luck. I never make money. People never love me. And I even have a lousy marriage, and my children don't listen to me. All bad things happen to me. And I'm trying to be good, And then this is not the principle. Is it the principle of cause and consequence? I'm good, but I have bad lucks. It's not fair, right? Sorry, Buddhist, you have to believe in the causes and consequences in three lives. You cannot deny what you have done in the past life. You cannot ignore that and interpret what happened in this life. And also, you're doing good in this life, and you don't forget that you have next life. Everything follow the principles of causes and consequence. If you get very, vexed, hatred, or you even kill yourself because you think this life is so unfair, then you disobey. You're upside down. You disobey Buddhist principles. Now, Śurangama Sutra trying to tell us that Buddha's view of upside down. If we disobey the reality of no self, emptiness, and the pure true mind, then we are upside down. This is when I see our Shifu's interpretation, I just hold my breath. But I share with you, this is not, try to break the rules of causes and consequence. But this is the view of the enlightened one. Buddha says that, Shifu says that for the awakened one, the causes and consequence does not exist. When the causes and consequence exist, there is a concept of space, the concept of time, and there is a self. The notion of self, the notion of others, and the notion of life, the notion of sentient beings, the four notions. Once there is no four notions, space and time does not exist. And the causes and consequence disappear. It doesn't mean that Buddhist or enlightenment one will disobey, to try to kill people, and I have no consequence. Doesn't mean that way. Okay, and the enlightened ones still have karma, come from their past life. But when they receive the karma, the things come to them, they don't vex. Because everything is manifest from the true mind. How can you hate your mind? Will you hate your arms? Will you hate your eyes? It's the totality, right? that kind of things. Okay, I'm not enlightenment. I just copy the words to you, and I may not explain perfectly, but you just go back to the original sutra or go back to the commentary from the masters. That the point is that there's no self, then there is no you and I, right? So there is no such things that I kill you. I kill you, then there is I and you. The concept of I and you. And you pass in the past life, you steal my money. In this life, you got to pay back. There's time, right? Yeah. So Śurangama Sutra trying to point out this. I gotta go fast. Buddha say, why? Basically, we lost our intrinsic wondrous. 2 points. The perfect wondrous illuminated mind and the precious wondrous illuminated nature. Then we got deluded from the knowledge of enlightenment. Why, we still upside down, we cannot see what Buddha see. Okay, here I make a chart. Basically, we all have an intrinsic wondrous. One is wondrous illuminated mind. The other is called wondrous illuminating nature. You got to remember these two terms. These two terms will come repeatedly in the following chapters. And here, the so-called wondrous illuminating mind is about the essence of the mind. Illuminated. I choose these two words. Illuminated means these things is brightened and tiny by itself. And the illuminated nature is about the function that I can shine on you. This is the function of the mind. One is illuminated. No matter there is an object for me to shine on or not, I'm illuminated. And then when I need to shine on something, I have the ability. Okay, so we lost these two. Okay, and we lost these two, so our mind is in an unluminous state. This is very important. I quickly go through it, and I think I need to repeat it in my next talk. The sutra goes like, so we lost the luminous state, become an unluminous state, and then this unluminous state become a void, and is in the and in this unluminous voidness, the darkness aggregates into the form, form elements. When the form combined with deluded thinking, it leads to the appearance of the body. This paragraph, this sentence is very important. Thereafter, the causes start accumulating to disturb within, and the grasping gets wild to chase without. For the appearance of such an unilluminous, trembling conditions, you like it, you take it as the nature of your mind. Basically, this sentence, Buddha trying to tell us why we are enlightened, luminous, and why we get unilluminated, and then become like have a body and have a mind here. So basically, the grasping gets wild to chest without is because we have 5 organs and chest all the dust outside. Cannot control, we cannot even collect our mind on our body, just like a monkey jumping around, right? A horse. And then this perception by the 5 organs, it generates the 5 consciousness for the 6 consciousness to process. And this is called, the causes start accumulating, disturb within. You like, oh no, it's banana again, it's broccoli again. These people come again. all this you see and smell something, and then it becomes the five consciousness process inside with the six consciousness, and then you generate a lot of thinkings. It's disturbing. Okay, now I need to stop because I will repeat because the time is up. I'll repeat this because this tells us the process for us to reverse our illusory mind to see our true mind. And this is the process. Here, Buddha point out that why the emptiness, the voidness manifest, why the form manifest, why we have deluded thinking. This deluded thinking come from where our five organs chasing outside and all the consciousness that's stirred inside. That's why we are unluminous. We are in the unluminous state and got deluded. Okay, so I see. Oh, sorry. Good. I'm sorry. I thought I still have 30 minutes. Okay, that's a great thing. All right. So for practice, any method that we provide to practitioner to practice with, first is we need to use a method to control the grasping of the five organs, right? You're counting the breath and all that. We need to collect the mind, be mindful here. Don't chase outside. And then gradually, when our mind, our organs not chasing outside, then we can start to face what's inside. All the things, memory, thinking, emotion, let's settle it. That's not disturb. Try not to disturb the mind. That's the second step. And then once the disturbing emotions can get settled, then we need to go further. The so-called illusory thinking, deluded thinking. That is just like a Niagara Fall, just keep coming. We need to face that. We need to overcome this deluded thinking pattern, the phenomena. Can you turn off your cell phone? Okay. And then further, we need to break the attachment of the form. And then further, we need to break the attachment to the voidness. So oftentimes, when we can hear our Chan master says that when they get enlightenment, shedding the great voidness, emptiness, space, and then all the earth just destroy. The earth represent the form, and then the emptiness, the space disappear, collapse. Okay. 那中文叫做大地落成，虚空粉碎。Okay, so it's not easy. So this is basically just reverse. Okay, Buddha explained in the beginning of why we are deluded, that we think there is a voidness, and then there is a form, there's deluded thinking, there is disturbing consciousness activity, and also our organs chasing outside. And then when we do any practice, we just reverse. We need to reverse this process and get to our luminous mind. Okay. Now, Buddha continue. Once you are deluded to take that, as your mind, you are convinced that your mind is inside your physical body. Therefore, ignoring that indeed your physical body, the outside mountains and rivers and even the space and the earth are within your wondrous, luminous true mind. Everything, there is no inside and outside. There is no objects and body and conscious mind. Everything is your true mind, manifested from your true mind. You are like someone, but what we cannot see it right now. We cannot directly experience this statement right now, because we are just like someone who fails to see a vast, clear ocean and only aware of a single bubble, like a single bubble, and then we catch it as the totality. We see the bubble as the tide that outreach and cover the whole sea, the whole ocean. In other words, we take the small part of the phenomena and think that's our true mind. That's the problem. And Buddha said that everything, you cannot just grasp this conscious mind as your mind. The river, the mountain, the object, everything manifests come from our true mind. So you are multiple deluded. Just like I lower down my arms. You lower down your arms, you become upside down, and you multiple deluded by yourself. Okay. And then Buddha continue. Number 5, the nature of seeing awareness is not returnable. Okay, I try to translate these words, and I'm using non-returnable, and some of the sutras say that it's not conditioned. Okay, but I like returnable because there's a process that come and go. Okay, another continue to ask. Okay, right now, you Ananda asks, having heard that the Buddha speak these marvelous words, I comprehend that my wondrous illuminating mind is perfect at its source, and that it is the everlasting ground of my mind. Correct? And I understand the Dharma that the Buddha has just spoken, but I have been using my conditioned mind to revert what Buddha has said and just learn about my wondrous illuminating mind without any effort, just like us, Yes, we have a wondrous illuminating mind. You don't need to practice. I have a true mind, always there, pure and clean. But Ananda is a good practitioner. But I do not dare yet to convince that what I have comprehended is truly my mind's fundamental ground. And oftentimes, as a Buddhist, we hear a lot of Buddhist teaching about emptiness, no self, nirvana, Buddha nature, all that. Kind of understand, and we start to repeat it, tell people, don't you know emptiness? Don't you know you have Buddha nature? It seems like we understand, but actually we don't understand. We just kind of understand. And why we should question ourselves, do we understand? Here, Ananda show us. At least he knows that. I'm using my conditioned mind, the deluded mind. Would you say that because I'm still using my 5 organs, 6 organs to hear your voice, which is the object, to make understanding. This understanding, according to Buddha, is conditioned mind, is deluded mind. So I'm using my deluded mind to hear Buddha's teaching. I'm not sure, no. I'm not sure this is my true, this is truly my mind's fundamental ground. This should be the question for the question for all of us. The Buddha said to Ananda, you and others still listen to the Dharma with conditioned mind. Then the Dharma you comprehend is also conditioned. Therefore, you fail to realize its true nature. See, that's why, you know what, a lot of people keep asking Shifu, can you give your, the retreat talks? Can you just put it on the YouTube, like giving the audios, I can listen at home. Shifu said, it's not going to work for you because in the retreat, our mind is relatively settled and calm and concentrate. And the Shifu give the talk is trying to keep us go deeper. And when we are in the daily lives, mind is so scattered, you're cooking and you listen to the Dharma talk, you think it's going to help you. You just accumulated some of the knowledge. That talk cannot get to your point, the mind state, and make you break through, okay? Because our mind is not just conditioned. Our mind is actually scattered, okay? Now, Buddha said that you use conditional mind to understand my words about the true mind. Sorry, it's also conditioned. Now it's very famous. See, the finger points to the moon, right? Buddha used this. Now, when you use your conditioned mind to hear the Dharma first, you don't know what the mind is. Moon, when you look at the moon, I'm using Dharma, the fingers, to point the moon to you. If you are using conditioned mind, that means you don't know the essence of the moon because you did not see the moon. You only see my finger. And on top of that, you don't know the essence of the finger because you think the finger is the moon. Make sense? Finger is finger, moon is moon. Now you see the finger as the moon. I point the true mind to you and you grasp the Dharma as the true mind. And even more, you even confuse the nature of light versus the nature of darkness because the finger is dark, the moon is bright. So you even confuse the quality of the finger and the moon. So it's multiple deluded. We are multiple deluded if we are using the conditioned mind to understand the Dharma or try to see our true nature. Okay. Here, there are levels. This is from Shifu's talk. Not seeing the truth, there are levels. Okay. First level is we don't know the true reality. We don't see the moon. And instead, we take the Dharma as the true reality. We think that the finger is the moon. So Buddha keep talking, Dharma, talking. We grasp the Dharma, the knowledge as the true reality. Sorry, it's not the first level. So why we cannot see the true reality? So a lot of good practitioners, they understand the Dharma fully. They practice very diligently. But the problem is they grasp this Dharma too tight and they cannot see the moon. Second levels, no, lower, go lower, okay? We don't fully understand the Dharma, but we think we totally understand. You see the finger point to the moon, right? you cannot even clearly see the fingers point to where. For example, you look lower, you only see the fist. You from the side and see it seems point to the right. You from the left, seem point to from the right, you see the finger point to the left. From the left, the finger point to the right. You know, in lower upper, you cannot see what the finger really point to, because you don't fully see that the fingers. Likewise here, the second level of not seeing the truth, no lower, because we don't fully understand the Dharma, and we think this is the Dharma. It should be, you know, when I see emptiness, and the emptiness of nothingness, it should be the true nature. And I hear something, and I think this is it. You know, we sometimes fall into the existence or non-existent, or we fall into, you know, physical or fall into the non-physical. So we cannot follow the middle way, because we see it without twist-eyed. We look at the Dharma from the different angles, and we think that this is the whole, this is it. And then we never see the moon, because the finger you see does not point to the right direction. And the third level is like, this is the worst scenario, is we use our own understanding to interpret the Dharma and think that it is the truth. Okay, you don't understand the Dharma, you can be humble, keep learning, keep listening to the Dharma, and try to comprehend the Dharma more precisely. But the worst case is, you understand some of the Dharma, then you know, sometimes you have an experience when you meditate, you have experience of like quietude. Then you use this physical and mental experience, try to explain the emptiness. Use your physical and mental conditions during meditations, try to interpret the nature of emptiness, or the nature that there's no self. This is terrible, right? So Buddha said that, you know, you don't see the moon, and you think the finger is the moon, the second deluded, and then third deluded. You don't know that the finger has no light, and you don't know the moon is bright. That's why you take the finger as the moon, right? You don't even know what is darkness or brightness means. Okay, now this is okay. So the first level is you think the finger is the moon, and we don't know the finger, and we don't know light versus dark. Now, Buddha continued, try to clarify these two. What is deluded grasping mind, and what is the pure true mind? Now, Buddha come back to the point. If you take what makes distinctions upon hearing me speaking the Dharma to be your mind, then that mind of yours should still carry the nature of making distinctions when there is no sound for the mind to make distinction. Okay. If this is your true mind, then it should not come and go. How come your mind cease to make distinction when the sound disappears? You see, sometimes in the retreat, right? Good environment, so quiet. Now you ignore the outside noise. And then you don't have too much wandering thought. And you're just sitting there, peace and quiet. Your mind seems not moving, but you lost the clarity. It's not like you are not knowing anything. That's probably sometimes enter into samadhi. You sit, 1 hour just passed away. That's not enlightenment. That's not you are not seeing your true mind. Or sometimes you're just too tired to give rise to the wandering thought. That's not. And then your mind that makes distinctions does not exist independently of the object that it distinguishes. And when the making of distinctions ceases such that neither space nor objects are distinguished, the state that Ghazali, the outer path practitioner, high practitioner, and the others wrongly call the truth of the non-manifested nature. This is a very tricky step. A lot of practitioners stay on this stage for a long, long time, or just think that this is the ultimate. When there is no space and no time, nothing, and your mind is calm, you are making no distinctions. And they think that this is the true mind. Sorry, Buddha said that this is the so-called the truth of the unmanifested nature by the outer past Ghazali. You think that your mind is stage, nothing manifest. And making no distinction, that's the problem. So Sufu always remind us, when we practice, when we have any spatial body and mind experience, first question to you, are you clear? Is your mind clear? Do you know your mind is clear or not? Or you are trapped into the state of voidness or a state of nothingness? That's very important checkpoint. So now, Buddha continue. If the Dharma conditions or perceptive condition is gone, then the distinction-making nature of your mind is also gone. That means the distinction-making nature of your mind is returnable. So when you need to make distinctions, it comes. When you have nothing to make distinctions, you return. Then it's host. Hosts come and go. It's not your host. It's not your true mind. Okay. The mind state, when the object comes, you make distinction. When the object goes, you don't make distinction. That's not your true mind. Ananda just so frustrated, ask, okay, if the nature of my mind is returnable, okay, my mind just operates this way, right? Things come in a process, give reactions, things go, then go away. Then why the wondrous illuminated original mind that Buddha you mentioned is not returnable? Please take pity on us and elaborate more. It's not my daily experience. My mind just operate a way that is returnable. And why you say that? Why it's not returnable? Okay, Buddha say that. As you can see me now, you see me now, the seeing nature of your visual awareness is fundamental illuminating. Your mind, look at me. Even though it's not the seeing nature of your wondrous luminous mind, it can be compared to a second moon, but not a reflection of the moon. Please listen attentively. I'll show you what is called the non-returnable. Now, the moon. Buddha likes to use moon a lot. This is the moon, full moon, and reflect on the lake. Usually we call the moon in the sky is called the first moon. And that is that represent the wondrous illuminated true mind. Okay. And the reflection of the moon is actually the third moon, not the second moon. Okay, the third moon. And this is the distinction image by the sixth consciousness. I see you, right? The reflection is actually the third moon. So what is the second moon? Your eyes, you're seeing nature, is the second moon, right? Is the essence of visual awareness. So that's why you see moon. I also see moon. We see the same moon, but we have different moons in our own mind. You see this moon from USA. I see the moon from Taiwan or Africa or, Italy. We see different angles of moon. And then I lost my mother. I see the moon, I feel sad. I'm dating with my girlfriend under the full moon. I see the moon, so beautiful. The third moon is different for us too, right? The same full moon is the mind is, distorted in different ways for us to perceive. So now, Buddha says that, okay, at least we are not using the third moon, the reflection of the moon to discuss this issue. We are talking about the essence of visual awareness, the second moon. The second moon, even though it does not exist, it exists because there is the identity of observer, self. I'm here, I have this visual ability to see something, and that's the second moon. And this second moon actually is diluted by the mind. Now, just remember the second moon. I have to finish soon. Returning. Now, Buddha say, returning, if we can return the original causes that lead to the different aspects of phenomena observed, then that seeing is not the true reality. For example, you see, why we see the bright full moon? Because there's the sun shining on the moon, right? We all know that. If we remove the sun shining on the moon, then the moon becomes dark. And then in that dark night, without moon shining, everything turned to dark. So if we return, the darkness of the moon, and we can see the brightness again. Okay, so now if we remove the reason, the cause for the full moon to be shiny, for example, return the sun, then the sun does not shining anymore. If we remove the cause that make the moon totally dark, and we can reverse the condition. And if you see, if I open the window, the door, you can see through what's outside, right? If I close the door, you cannot see through the wall. You cannot see what's happening outside. So seeing, you need to an open channel for you to see outside. Otherwise, you block. And another thing is, you got to have a perceiving object for you to see. Otherwise, nothing you can see, you become null or void. So if you return the distinguish So for example, we practice the direct contemplation. We see, but we don't make distinctions. And what would happen? Okay, and then when we have nothing to perceive, there is a voidness. We got to break the voidness. And this is what happened a couple of days ago. The dust from the Canada, this is the George Washington Bridge. It's become like this. You cannot see the other shore, right? Because it's dusty. And when now it's clear, you can see the whole bridge again. So this is basically 8 conditions for seeing, right? In the dark or in the brightness, in the light, we can see different things. But we can return, can, remove the light or turn on the light. It can come and go. The seeing ability can come and go. Likewise, you open the door, you close the door, you remove the object, or break the space, or you remove dust or make it clean or make it dusty. All those 8 conditions. Among these 8 types of seeing, what would you say is the original cause for the presence of the seeing nature? That is the essence of your visual awareness. Return to, okay, that means, so for those 8 conditions, they are conditioned. So if you return the cause of this conditional phenomena, then change. The phenomena change, right? Now, Buddha asks, what is the cause for your original luminous, wondrous luminous awareness? From among the 8, dark, light, open, blocked, perceiving, and void, dusty and clear? None of them. So for the returnable, of course, it's not you. It's come and go. For the non-returnable, who else could it be? It's you. Clearly then, you should know that your non-returnable mind is fundamentally wondrous, luminous, and clear. And you confuse yourself with the returnable. Okay, I finished the first 5, and hopefully, sorry about the overtime. And probably we have an event in the afternoon. If you have questions, if I can answer, and you save it for the next time, because I'm going to finish the next 5 aspects in my next talk, and then we will get a clear picture of what the true mind is not. And then hopefully we can see through what is not to what it is, from the finger to see the moon. Okay. It's very difficult. Okay. So, all right, no host. So I just invited you to join palms, and then we will recite the verses on transfer the merits. May the virtuous merits adorn and glorify the pure land of the Buddhas. Upwardly, we repay the 4 layers of gratitude. Downwardly, we alleviate the sufferings of the 3 destinies. May those who see and hear the Dharma generate Bodhi mind. Exhausting this body of retribution, may we be born in the land of supreme bliss. Thank you for your attention, and let's keep up the content to finish the other 5 aspects of the true mind next in July. Okay, thank you for your attention, and have a wonderful day. And in the afternoon, we have a special talk, special guest from Ohio, talking about her near-death experience. This is a very rare and very precious experience for any persons. And I hope that you can stay for the talk, the tea and talk in the afternoon. Okay, thank you. Amitabha.